Hello again.
Yes, hello.
How do we start? I don't remember how we start this. We just say hello is what we do.
I think that's basically what we do.
Yeah. So today was a special day for us teachers here at the School of Education. I say at the School of Education because it's like a different day for each school. But for us today, this is the joint. It is Wai Kru Day. This is how we get all these flowers.
Yes.
And I like this.
You look lovely,
I look
by
lovely.
the way.
I look lovelier than I did last week.
That's true.
I looked lovely last week. I think I look more lovely now.
Yes.
With this day.
I agree.
And yeah.
Very festive.
So, let's explain what Wai Kru Day is.
Yeah.
So, what is it?
Well, what is why? Why? I thought.
Like why?
Oh, like why? Oh, I'm thinking why. Like when I want to go swimming, I say why not? Swimming. Like, all right, that's not.
Swimming Teacher Day. That doesn't make any sense.
No, I know. That's why I was asking the difference.
No, why? It means like respect for
I know.
Teacher Day is what it is. And so on Wai Kru Day, they give us flowers, and this thing, which is like it's flowers, but it's also like a Buddhist prayer thing.
Yes.
And the first year I was here, I got 2 of those, and I wore them on my hands like gauntlets for the rest of the day, and I smelled like jasmine, and they immediately wilted. Because flowers are not for wearing. Flowers are not for clothes. That's
It was probably your stinky skin.
Yeah, but I looked like, I don't know, like Iron Man or something.
Yeah.
I was a superhero of flowers for a day.
I get those and I put them in the mirror in my car.
Yeah?
Yeah, and they die immediately.
Oh, yeah, correct.
Real quick. But my car smells really nice.
True.
But that's not related to Wai Kru Day at all.
No.
Anyway. Yeah, the first, this is my third Wai Kru Day. And the first one, I remember I felt had very sentimental feelings.
Yeah, you cried all over the place.
And now the third, this is my third Wai Kru Day. I felt more weird.
Disappointed?
No, not disappointed.
Underwhelmed?
You know what? I think it's very nice, and I think that both of us, are just not used to that type of thing. I don't know. As we train to be teachers, and we did our student teaching in the United States, and students in the United States, high school, middle school, high school, and definitely university students are much different.
Much meaner.
They're much meaner, yes.
They're not nice people. No, whatever. But also, so along with the flowers, the students come and say thank you individually sometimes, and then they why you like on the floor as a sign of respect. That to me, that's the part where I'm like, whoa, what are we doing now? What is this? Get up off the floor, kid. Too much.
Yeah, on one hand, it has a very special meaning here, so I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I see the value in it, and I'm always very grateful for it. It's every Wai Kru Day have been good experiences, but I feel sometimes uncomfortable.
Well, so today before I went into the room where all the students are, 150 students or whatever that was there. So I was sitting in the green room there, and I was talking to 2 students, and I was saying that in American culture, signs of respect like this, or signs of gratitude like this, where you're giving flowers and kneeling on the floor and singing songs and lighting candles, that these things are uncomfortable in American culture. Because we don't often do them.
We often, plus, that's true. The flowers and things like this, it's really loud. Things like this we associate with like praying, and even like doing this is associated with religion and praying. And so in American schools and there are some religious universities, but most public universities and American schools, religion is separate from education. And I think for us, it's very different to see, flowers and singing and saying a prayer or saying I love you.
Yeah.
Have you ever said I love you to any of your teachers? No. Maybe my kindergarten teacher.
And if a student of mine in the States told me that he or she loved me, I would walk away right away.
Yeah.
Like, no.
I would run away.
Oh God.
Yeah. I would think like police, lawsuit.
Yeah.
It would be I'd run. Yeah. So it's very different. The culture, of course, like for this Wai Kru Day is much different than anything. I think I can't think of an equivalent holiday.
Well,
in
also
the States.
there's a religious aspect to being a teacher in Thailand. Or you've never been a crew. You've only ever been in a John. Before I became an Ajahn, I was a crew. I was working in a secondary school. When you're a crew means just teacher.
Yeah.
Ajahn means like wise teacher.
Yeah.
And it comes from monks. And so it has these roots in like a religious like context. I'm not a monk. But then you and I would get like elevated to a status that has religious implications. That we are seen as teachers, but also as holders of
wisdom and knowledge.
Wisdom, yeah, and like wisdom about the world. Like we could teach them about life and how to be a good person. As one of our students said today, she made a speech in which she cried for quite a while. A very emotional speech, and she was saying that we teach her how to walk, how to talk, how to be a person, along with teaching her English.
Yeah, and also when you think about the collective view of teachers in the country, it's overwhelmingly a positive view. But when you look at the view of teachers, secondary educators in the United States, it's very, not always, but often negative.
Yeah.
Or teachers in the United States are often vilified.
And that's one of the things that kind of strikes me on Wai Kru days. Like, I don't need my students to do what they did today. I don't need them to give me flowers, although I look lovely in them. But at the same time, it's nice to be respected, and it's nice to have that position in society. So that it's not this adversarial relationship between teachers and society, or teachers and students and their families, or whatever. So when I think of like the American alternative, maybe the American alternative is also not the best. Like I don't need this, but I also don't need the opposite of this, which would be for me to be considered some kind of villain, murderer, thief.
Also, I think that Thai students show appreciation on a daily basis in a different way than American students would show appreciation, or fondness. So, for example, here they might say, "Oh, Aj.Philip," and they might. But in a high school in America, we use last names instead of first names, so it would be Mr. Calabro. So a term of affection for a teacher in the United States might be if the students they drop the mister and just call you Calabro.
Yeah.
That's a sign that they like you, but then that's also a sign in some way of disrespect. It's
grab them, give those kids detention or something.
Yeah, it's a very, very different climate in both places, or between both places.
Yeah. One of the things that I didn't say today, that I've said in the past, was that I find that a ceremony like this, where we all thank each other for being teachers and we thank the students for being students, points out this important aspect of the teacher-student relationship, which is that you can come into my class and do a bad job, and I can give you a bad grade, or you can come into my class and misbehave, and I might yell at you or hit something. But that's not a reflection of our personal relationship.
Yeah, of course not.
It's a professional relationship. But then at the end of the day, we can put all that aside and say, oh, but we are still, we don't have to be friends, but we're still friendly.
That's also what we talked about last week with the last question, was having the same group of students for more than one term or more than 1 year. It's a funny thing happens. There's a funny dynamic that when we know you for a few years and we see you as student teachers, for example, and I give you a C, I feel bad.
Yeah.
I feel bad, but I feel a little bad. I have to remind myself that is the grade that was deserved on that morning or that afternoon.
A lot of times
whatever.
I get angry at the students for doing this, for putting me in that position.
Yeah.
Make me hate you.
But then you have this really close relationship, and you do things like Wai Kru Day, and
it's good to just admit that that was that.
The student-teacher dynamic changes, and I think that's another reason why I'm not uncomfortable. It's a really I enjoy Wai Kru. It doesn't make me uncomfortable, but it makes me feel
weird.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I can't think of a good word.
Just call it what it is, man. It's just weird. It's just strange. Yeah. One of the things I was thinking about today also was that in Thai culture, there are pretty strict rules about who gets respect from whom and when and how it should be shown, and why. Right? Then you respect your elders, you respect your family, you respect teachers. You respect Ajans more than you respect crew. You respect monks, obviously, whatever. And I was thinking about how teachers in the States get respect. And there's in the States, as a teacher, you would have to earn it more.
Yeah, of course.
You have to, and it's common for students to not respect teachers that are not earning it for whatever reason.
Teachers, if a student in the United States, and I'm an example of one of those students. As a student in the past, if I really believed that I maybe knew more than my teacher, I would lose respect for that teacher.
I was threatened once with a teacher, and you know about this. Leave the teacher's name out of the thing. Maybe I don't remember it, but that's not true. You know who you are. But she got angry with me for some reason and threatened to fail me or give me a bad grade. I think fail. And I lost respect for her when she didn't. By the end of the semester, I figured out what was wrong. We squashed that. She's like, "You got an A, Phil. Isn't that wonderful?"
So you went from failing to getting an A.
Yeah, I'm really good. I'm a smart guy. But when that happens,
I'm smart too, but I've failed classes in the past because of bad decisions.
Yeah. To be fair, I wasn't doing anything wrong. She was doing. No, that's not true. But she was angry with me, and then we resolved whatever the conflict was. And because she had threatened to fail me and didn't fail me, I lost respect for her. Get out of here. With your empty threats.
So even a teacher, any level of teacher, you have to earn that respect. That respect is not like an intrinsic thing that you are taught as a child. It's something that must be earned by the teacher. Also, it's not uncommon for teachers and parents to argue or fight.
Yeah.
And in that situation, the student would witness the mother or father saying, I don't like your teacher is stupid, or your teacher is not intelligent, or that your teacher is a bad teacher. And so very often you hear the news and media and your mother and father talking bad about a teacher or teachers. And so there is no societal thing or societal code where it does not matter what the teacher does or how good or how bad the teacher is, but you must respect your teacher. That does not exist in the United States. If you have a bad teacher,
you can let people know about it.
Yeah, you let everyone
know. But then
also
the opposite is true, where as a teacher, you're more motivated to earn the respect you're getting. Yeah. And a lot of times when you see like old teachers in the States, old teachers in general, after a while you start to slip, start to lose that drive. And in the States, when that happens, a lot of times you start losing the respect of your students. And that's your indication to you, like, man, either I get better or it's just going to keep going bad.
That's actually another thing I was thinking is respecting your elders, respecting people who are older than you. I mean, I guess I was taught as a child to respect people who are older than me. But if those people did not respect me in return, then I don't owe them any respect.
Yeah.
Just because you are older does not mean that I should respect you or that I must respect you in the United States.
In the United States. Yeah. And like I said, I don't know that is better. It's just a different approach. And there's been times when I think like having to earn the respect that you get, or having to treat students in a certain way that you would get respect is a good thing. But then also at the same time, having a society where teachers are given some respect and some trust right off the bat is also.
Yeah, I think that's true for a lot of like collective cultures like Thailand, where older people in society are revered. And in individualist countries like the United States, older people are not.
Yeah.
Not really.
No.
Unless you did something wonderful, or you are an accomplished doctor or lawyer or university professor, and you're just an old person.
Well, even then,
you're pushed.
If you're in the States,
pushed aside.
If you earned respect 10 years ago, that doesn't still get you respect necessarily today. No. Whereas in Thailand, you might not have had to earn it, but if you did earn respect, you would still remember like
a good thing you did 15 years ago.
Ajahn Bamrung, who started our section, our program, he retired a year ago, 2 years ago. And he's still widely respected, and his best work probably, I don't know, I mean, he's been doing research, he's been creating degree programs and all this stuff for decades. Yeah. And that never goes away from him.
Yeah.
So, in keeping with our Wai Kru theme, I thought we would talk about influential teachers in our lives that have influenced us as teachers and people. And I got 3 for you.
All right, I think I have 3. Okay. Number 1.
Number 1, when people talk about deciding to become a teacher, they always have like
a teacher
a
that
teacher.
that meant something. Or,
Yeah, that's the one. You looked at him, you're like, or her, and you're like, I want to be that. That didn't happen to me, but in retrospect, there was a teacher, Mr. Waz, who passed away quite some time ago. But he was a very widely respected teacher in my middle school. He was my 7th grade English teacher, and he was. They named the street the school is on after him. He was when I was in 7th grade. He playing around in class and not really paying attention. He knew how to do everything that a teacher needs to do, just effortlessly. And so he would, if things got out of hand, then he would, get control of the situation, or he could be very stern. He was famous for. I grew up in Franklin, which Franklin Township, New Jersey, is. I'm not pointing at the camera today, boy. There it is.
It's a lot of shout outs.
Shout out to Franklin. Franklin was
MTV Movie Awards.
Yeah, there it is. That's what we're doing.
TRL.
Yeah. And
TRL.
so it could be a rough neighborhood sometimes. He was famous for he would break up fights by putting both of the kids in a headlock, one under each arm. And then he was like, calm down.
Was he a big guy?
Oh, he was a huge guy. I think he had a heart attack, to be honest. I think
that'll happen sometimes.
But he was like, he had that side to him. He could be very strict. But then he also had the side where he could be very, like, joking. And one thing did not interfere with the other thing. So if he needed to be strict, then he would be strict. And if he could,
we talked about this last week with student teaching advice.
Yeah. And he knew all his content by the back of his hand. He would read us Edgar Allan Poe stories from memory.
Yeah. My favorite and most impressionable? No. The teachers who made the biggest impression on me were my most intelligent teachers.
Yeah.
My most intellectual teachers.
Just knowing your stuff.
Yeah. Knowing everything. Those are my inspiration.
We could talk about teachers in my family that I didn't have as teachers. My great uncle could do Shakespeare lectures off the top of his head.
Yeah.
3-hour lectures.
My grandfather was a science teacher at Columbia.
Yeah.
He knew everything.
Yeah.
He was a good man. He might be one of my inspirations. My grandfather.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, so Mr. Waz.
We're not talking about you.
Mr. Waz was an excellent teacher, and I'm not like Mr. Waz, I guess, because I'm not that good yet.
Yeah, I was going to say yet. So far. But
he was one of the influential teachers. And then the other two actually were from student teaching. My second cooperating teacher was Miss Merkin, and she walked me through everything. I know you didn't have a very close relationship with your cooperating teachers, but
not at all.
I didn't know what a unit was, really. I mean, I thought I knew. I didn't know. She told me how it was. She got me through things. I would come up with these plans that to me seemed so genius, and then she'd be like, well, how are you going to do that?
Tear the plans
apart. I was obsessed with coming up with a lesson that would push kids to lie. I don't know why. Yeah. And she would just, every time I thought I had it, she's like, no, what about this? And come on. All I want to do.
That's a good cooperating teacher.
Yeah.
Though. My cooperating teacher gave me some notes, and I never saw her again.
Yeah.
I saw my cooperator 3 times.
Yeah. So I didn't know what I was doing. I thought I knew. I thought that Dr. Farber and all them had prepared me, but I didn't know anything until she got there, and then she got me through the thing. But the other teacher was Mr. Van Leeuwen, who was the opposite of what she did, in that I would go to work, for the first student teaching experience, we didn't have to teach much.
Okay.
We're just supposed to be there to watch. And we would walk in. I would walk into work. We only go 3 days a week.
4?
Was it 4?
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Was it?
All right. It doesn't
I
matter.
don't remember.
We weren't there the whole time.
It was 2009. That was 6 years ago. I don't remember.
All right. We'd walk in. We'd come into work. So I had a partner. There was 2 of us, and a teacher, and he would go to us and just ask us what we were going to do, and we had no idea. And he would put it together. I don't know if he did this. I always thought he did it for real. I always thought that he didn't know what he was going to do in 10 minutes. Like, we'd be coming up with something, and they'd be doing the morning announcements. And we're sitting there like, and then we're going to do, and then, okay. And then we got this, and you got stuff? I don't have any stuff. Oh, God, what are we, and then we're going to do this?
In 10 minutes, we got to make a lesson.
We're doing the Pledge of Allegiance, man. Go, go, go. And what it showed me was that you should be prepared, but if you're not prepared, like, there comes a time when the bell rings, if you know what you're going to do or not, the bell rings, it's your show, it's got to be
starting now.
You're doing 45 minutes whether you're ready to or not, and just go.
I think that being able to do that is also a virtue, because you never know, like, if you have a lesson planned and you need technology and the technology breaks, what
yeah,
you don't teach
for
an hour or 2 hours.
He was real good at just letting things.
But that's a skill, though. I think that's not a skill to use every day, but in case your first plan doesn't work out.
Yeah, and he was also really good at, after the fact, justifying what had happened in the lesson. And so we looked like geniuses at 3:30. At 8:30 in the morning, we looked like the worst show that could possibly be made. And then at 3:30 at the end of the day, we looked like
and feel like geniuses.
Yeah, we were so good. But I don't know if he did that. He could have been lying the whole time. He could have been, who knows?
Before we started filming this podcast today, you made a good point about your teachers who have had a big influence on you can be the best teachers that you've ever had. They can be the nicest teachers that you've ever had, or the most intelligent teachers, but they can also be the worst teachers that you've ever had.
Yeah.
So, like, the most influential teacher that you've had could be the worst teacher or the worst person.
Yeah. Or just do something wrong.
Yeah.
Right?
Because then
you look at it like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Or I don't want to be like that.
Yeah. I don't want to be that type of person. I don't want to be that type of teacher. I don't want to, whatever the teacher is doing that you disagree with or don't like, or examples of poor behavior, or even like sloppy teachers, or just anything. And you can look at that person and think, I do not want to be like that. I am going to try to not end up like that. Yeah. Which is also an inspiration in disguise. So, yeah, your 3.
Yeah, those are my 3.
My 3, 2 are high school, and 1 is my undergraduate university. My first high school teacher was my second year world history teacher, and he was influential to me because his lessons were the first time that I really was asked to think critically about things. So he incited us to think critically. His lessons were always like cool and unique and different and creative and unexpected. He was really smart. He was like knew everything about everything. You could ask him a question about anything and he would have an answer for you. And he was my favorite. He inspired a lot of my teaching because he used interdisciplinary approach. So we talked about, it was a world history class, but we talked about everything. So whatever part of history we were learning about, he would bring in science and he would bring in literature and bring in anything related from other subjects. And I loved that. He was a smart guy. My second is actually my math teacher that I had. I had him for 3 years in high school, like first year, second year, and third year. I had the same math teacher. And I loved him because everyone loved him. Everyone in the school loved him. He was a hockey coach. He was funny. He was involved in clubs and sports, and he was a big part of the community. He retired 2 years ago. So when I had him, he was maybe 50s, early 50s. But he always made our class laugh. He was always cool. He was always fun. But he was also an excellent teacher. I remember everything that he taught us. And he taught math. I never really loved math. But I loved going to his class, and that's a good teacher. If you hate a subject, but you have a teacher who makes you love that subject, that's a good teacher. And my third one is a university teacher I had for Byzantine, so like Greek history and Greek language, and he spoke 10 languages fluently. And that really impressed me. And he was the head of the foreign language department, and he was also the head of the study abroad department. He's traveled all over the world, and he speaks multiple languages. And difficult languages, like Hebrew and Arabic. He spoke Greek. He could read ancient Greek. And I was like, this guy is mint. And he was a good teacher. That's it. That's my three.
You have, I'll say this, as an example of a teacher that I had that I remember him because I don't want to be like him. He was a social studies teacher. He knew a lot of stuff, and he was well-traveled and all these things, but he had a really bad temper. And he would get angry with the students very quickly. And sometimes they would ask questions and he would just lose his temper right away.
Yeah.
Just get really angry. And I remember being in that class, and sometimes you had to like try to distract him to calm him down. Yeah. he would just lose his temper. And I didn't want to be like that as a person. As a teacher, I don't want to be like that as a teacher.
Yeah. Or as a friend, or whatever, or spouse, or father, any aspect of your life.
He was good at his job in other ways, but that's what I remember about him. I don't remember anything that he taught me.
Except his really bad temper.
He had a bad temper. Yeah. Anyway, that's all the time we have for this week.
Yeah.
We talked about teachers forever.
Yeah, we talked. Yeah.
We were going to talk about present simple and present continuous, but it's some other time.
Yeah, we were going to do our weekly common mistakes, but we'll do.
Before we go, we have big news. Hopefully, big news. I've been in talks. I've been in talks with the John Joey.
You've been involved in negotiations with
Yeah,
John Joe?
I've been putting the pressure on him. Then yeah, not with my fists, with my words and my flowers in my hair. I've been in talks with the John Joey to do a film review segment for our podcast.
We're in the negotiation process.
Yeah.
We're in
always
the
got to have
negotiation
the negotiations.
phase.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully we're going to have a movie review
next week
with the John Joe.
It's going to be real good, real good. A lot better than.
I have a good feeling about.
A lot better. I've
had some of the best conversations with a John Joe.
Yeah.
About movies.
Yeah.
I trust.
He can go deep with you because he's the drama teacher. The drama teacher for our section. He teaches the drama classes, but he can also just kind of like talk about special effects if you like, because he doesn't, Yeah, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So next week, tune in for that.
About it.
Until then, goodbye.
Yeah, goodbye.
Forever.
We'll see you next week.
Enjoy your lives.
Yeah. Enjoy your lives for the next 7 days.
Yeah. Thanks for the flowers.
Yeah, thank you.